So I was doing hits on Boston radio, and they were asking me, what I thought of the Celtics. And I'm not trying to shine them on. I'm not trying to just pander. Certainly not to a Boston crowd. A pox on your house, Boston. But I really thought that they genuinely had a chance to win the chip this year, the whole thing. I didn't think it likely, but this is a season where there are several teams you just can't rule out. Normally in a regular season, in a normal season, you could say, look, there are like 3 teams that can win it. But this year, there's like at least 6 where going in, you thought, they could win it if things, get a few lucky breaks. The Celtics were one of those teams. Now, they got an unlucky break, it seemed, when Gordon Hayward went down. Because the reason the Celtics really have a chance is they can play elite defense when they need to. And anytime they've looked like world beaters, it's the defense. But while they don't have any one player who's like Kawhi Leonard or obviously LeBron James or Luka or James Harden or someone that's like, wow, that guy's unstoppable. They do have a guy in Jason Tatum who looks like maybe he could get there one day in the not too distant future. And more than that, they have 4 guys who aren't, like, all 5 of their starters are above average, including Tice. But they have 4 guys who you go, no, that's an offensive all-star. That's an all-star caliber player. Tatum, as I mentioned, who I think can be the focal point of a championship team on offense one day, if that day is not already here. Kemba Walker, obviously, is an all-star caliber offensive player. And then Jaylen Brown and Gordon Hayward are not only excellent two-way players, but you don't really need to run plays for them. You can, but you don't need to. They can get their buckets in transition and in the flow of the game. They can do a lot of things to help you. So it's like, is it a giant 3? No. It's not, it's not the Warriors from a couple years ago or the Cavs from a couple years ago, like a big 3. But it's a pretty big 4. And when they lost that one Gordon Hayward, it's like, well, maybe this won't be their year. But Brad Stevens has coached his butt off, and these guys have played. Like, the idea, one of the ways that the minutes got absorbed is Marcus Smart has played a more prominent role. And Marcus Smart is one of those crunch time players. The adjustment to put him on Kyle Lowry, like Kyle Lowry had such a great game 2 games ago. It was like, wow, is he the greatest Raptor of all time? I mean, Kawhi's only there for a year. Look at how Lowry has played now in the playoffs. That monkey's off his back from a couple years ago after last year's playoffs. And look at the kind of stuff he just did. Put Marcus Smart on him. He ain't getting that anymore. That's one way that actually not having Gordon Hayward maybe has helped this team. You can see what you can do with the other pieces. Here's Brad Stevens on his team responding after the last 2 games when it looked like they're going to sweep. All of a sudden it's knotted up, and then last night's performance.
That's the thing that I take away, that, it's not about winning a game. It's not about, winning 3 in a series now. It's about just the process of growth when you show that resilience. I think that's what it's all about. You can't go through a playoffs without having heartbreakers. You can't go through a playoffs without something bad happening, and you just have to be able to respond. And so, I thought that was that's what I take away. I knew we had good competitive character. You really saw that on display tonight.
This is what happens. That's a real thing with a young team. They have to experience the growth as a unit. And that's what's happening with this Celtics team. Even now, and I picked the Clippers, I'm not getting off them since the preseason. The Celtics could easily wind up representing the East, and they could even win a championship if they get Hayward back. It's a very good team, a very well-coached team. They don't have a lot of size in the front court in one way. But actually, Stephen A. made a good point on First Take today. I'll expand upon it. He was talking about the size of the team. And while Tice is undersized for a 5, and Kemba's small, but they have other guys who are big for their positions, right? Marcus Smart is a big, strong guard. Jaylen Brown is a big wing. They have guys who are big for their positions, and they can all hoop, like all of them. Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.